recording. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, I pretty much feel the same way I did with the first part of it. I really liked it. It maintained the intrigue and the story throughout, so I'm really happy with that. To my first point that I mentioned earlier about the writing being flat, I still stand by that. But the second point about it being emotionally like dry, I didn't feel that much. And the second part, you were right. It kind of did open up, and they started a bit more with the backstories of a lot of people,
Hmm.
and it was good. I was a bit more invested in all of their stories, or rather, the remaining student stories. So it was really good. I liked that part of it. It did get a bit intense because, like, I think Julia mentioned last time that these are middle schoolers, and it's just way too grotesque for them to be doing these things. But then also there was that part with the girl who was talking about how she was abused, and then she was like trying to get it on with one of the uh,
That was rough. That was that really psycho girl, but you start feeling like bad for her right then. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
like
exactly.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. Oh my god, I have thoughts about that. I will talk about it in my turn.
Yeah, I was like, these guys are like, what, 15-ish? Well, younger, right? I don't know. I was like, I don't know. So that part was a bit icky, but also like it was fine. The ending, I was like, oh, so he did betray them, but then it felt very like sus and too convenient. So I was like, I don't think he really betrayed them. And then it was a good ending. I like the fact that they're still on the run. I like the
Hmm.
fact how we kind of uh tricked them and like uh worked off on the colors. It was good. I don't have that much notes. Like I really enjoyed the story. It was good. No complaints. Very minimum notes.
Okay. Julie, you want to go or after me?
I can go.
Okay.
I think like three main things stick out to me. One, the scene of the girls together and then everybody just fucking dying.
The
And
lighthouse.
yes.
Dang.
And I
The
Dang,
la-
really
dude.
truly believe that that's how that would play out in a situation like that. That makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
When everyone's
Everybody's on
on
edge.
edge. Yeah.
Everybody's
I
on edge.
mean,
Everybody has weapons. Nobody knows what's going on. All of a sudden, something happens. You can't trust anybody, and that's like literally that was insane. Like that was so insane. That was my favorite part of the entire book because that's what I would imagine something would happen. I thought that was so crazy. Um, Second to what Manel said, I was like really struggling with how to feel about that character because on one end I was like, yeah, fuck man, you're a badass bitch, like you're killing them. But then she just started getting fucking crazy, and I was like, oh no, this is too much for me. Fuck this. I want her to die. Like I need her to die. Somebody needs to fucking off this bitch now. And then you were kind of like stuck in the middle because you're like, what the fuck? Like all that shit happened to her.
I
Like,
know.
and then like this, like the line that stuck out to me the most was like she decided that she would take instead of being taken, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
I
And then this just
know.
like ties back to like the whole thing of what I was telling you guys. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in that country, but like everybody's getting. I know this is being recorded to the audience or whoever's watching this. I mean this like in the most respectful way possible. Like everybody's getting fucking raped. Everybody's like getting like the parents are pimping them out for money. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And to be fair, I'm pretty sure maybe it happens here. I don't know. Anyways, I was just like, what the fuck? Because remember that guy Takashi in the front, like at the beginning, raped the stupid other teacher too before he killed her. Oh my
Oh
god! I was like, this
yeah.
is for me. And then her saying like all that shit about pimping herself out. Anyway, so I was just like, I don't know how to feel about her. Like at the end, I wanted her to die because she was just fucking crazy. But then I was just like, oh my god, am I a bad person because
yeah.
I want her to die because she went through all of that? I don't know. I struggled with her character a lot. Um, I was really, really confused at the end because I thought the guy that did all the computer was the guy that got out in the end.
Oh no, that was Shinji.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sinji
so you
died.
were all jacked up.
I was
Okay.
all fucked up.
Oh
But
no,
then
yeah,
second to
Shinji
that,
died way earlier. Yeah.
yeah. And then second
Yeah.
to that, I was kind of like, there was a couple of instances where Yoshu, whatever, you know his name. He was talking to other people about how they were gonna escape and all this kind of stuff and blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why would he vocalize that to every single person that he met up with if he knew that they were listening?
Mhm.
And how did the like instructor not catch on to that? Do you know what I mean? Did they just like take it like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about? Or why did it not raise a red flag to the instructor at the end somehow or another they were gonna get out. Do you know what I mean? Like if because at the end he had to like say it, right? He had to like pretend he was killing them because they were listening. Well, they didn't hear the other guy fucking tell everybody their escape plan, or was it just kind of like, oh, he's just talking out of his ass?
I think it's the second one. Like,
Okay.
I don't know, maybe he wanted to lead them on, but then kind of put a fast one on them. I don't know. Because, yeah, you're right. They can hear everything he's saying. And he's been, like, disclosing everything from the beginning. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I think
And then
I think I think like his lie to me ended up being pretty plausible. Well, not really because the guy figured it out anyways, but like I think it was because he was keeping it so vague, and then all of a sudden when he like turns on them and kills them, it's like anyone listening would have just like hopefully in his case in his defense thought like, oh, he was just bullshitting and he was just manipulating them and he was just saying this to make them come along. And on top of
Yeah.
that, he kind of was saying that to make them come along. He was saying as much as he
Mhm.
had to get them to trust him while not giving away the actual farm. But yeah, I agree. Maybe he could have said like a little bit less or like I don't really know. Or at
yeah.
the very least, like all throughout that, he probably should like one piece at the very least that doesn't make any sense is how he kept saying like I can't go with you guys because I'm gonna screw over the government. Like like regardless, you should like in terms of like suspicions, like that didn't need to be said. You probably should have kept that to
Yeah.
yourself until later.
Yeah.
If anything, that's
Yeah.
probably what set the bad guy off. Maybe. Yeah, but that doesn't bug me like too much. But I agree. I did think of that a little.
Okay. And then last but not least, Zakumi,
Kazuho. Kazuho.
Mr.
Yeah.
Fucking 1800s revolving machine gun. Terrifying. Terrifying. That character scared the shit out of me. Every time he popped up, I was fucking scared. I was like, no one's gonna live. Like that was a very terrifying character to me. I was like, what
Yeah.
in the actual?
He was quite
He was
terrifying.
scary. Um,
And like the ease at which he was killing so many people was
yeah.
like, dang.
And then second to that, okay, so that's what I was thinking about it. In the end, I kind of didn't, and these are all just like all like small nitpicky things, right? But when the girl, I don't know why I'm screaming. Why am I speaking so loud? I heard my echo and I was like, "Damn, bitch." When the girl, Hirukimi or whatever, when she was like, "Oh, about those two fires,"
You just
and
like
then like
make
he
up a
snuck up.
Japanese name. Sorry. Hirokimi.
What was her name?
I don't
Which
even know
was
who you're
it
talking
was something with an H.
about.
I don't know. Anyways,
Whoever, yeah.
um, when she's like, "Oh, I can't believe he snuck up on me." To me, in my mind, you cannot sneak up on somebody from a far enough distance to hear what they were casually saying like 2 deaths ago. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, and then he just immediately built those two fires. I was like, there's no way in fucking hell he could have heard that and known that. Like, that didn't make sense to me. But again, that was just like me being nitpicky. Overall, 10 out of 10. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. All of the characters. I am so glad that what's his face like lived in the end, even though he got shot, and he
Mhm.
ended up with a girl. Um, I am sad the other guy died.
That was really sad. I agree. There was
I
quite
have,
a few like sad deaths where I was like, dang.
Yeah.
By
yeah.
the time it happened, I was like, man, that freaking sucks. Yeah.
And I was so mad at that stupid Yuko girl when she
Oh,
was
with
like,
the
"He's bad,
poison.
he's evil, blah blah blah. I have to kill him." And but I think the way they described, because I think there are people like that. No, there is people like that where they're just like they abhor, they hate. I don't know if I'm using the right context. They
Abhor,
hate like
yeah.
violence. They can't stand it, whatever. And like that, like blank, that like fog should of her brain. Where like, no, I saw it. Like he killed her. That's why innocent people, end up in jail. By the way, because of witnesses like that in court. I'm just
Mhm.
saying. I'm just fucking
Yeah.
saying.
True.
Do you know what I mean? That's why like you just can't. Yeah. Anyway, so like I thought that was like really interesting too. How she was just like, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh wait. Maybe I was wrong. I was like, yeah, bitch, you fucking killed 5 other of your bitches because you were fucking crazy and you had like PTSD, girl. Like, anyways. And I thought she was gonna commit suicide before she tried to save herself. Because if I were her, I would just jumped off on my own, not even try to like
Mm.
land on something. Anyways, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Last thing.
You're good.
I have been saying to myself, like, since we started reading this book, I why why have you guys listened to the audiobook? Are you guys listening or reading?
Listening, yeah.
Audiobook.
Why every time they go hurt?
Yeah, it's so cutesy and it doesn't
Yeah.
match the vibe.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. That,
Yeah.
it makes me laugh.
And then she gouged his eyes out. Like,
And he's like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, I agree. It was
Like,
interesting how the audiobook, this book definitely has like a weird history. I didn't really like explain it because I thought that I was about to have to, and then I realized that the two things I got should have been pretty close to each other. Were either of you guys following along in the book?
uh-uh.
no.
No. The book, there was like a good amount of differences, like
Oh.
translation-y things, and apparently this book has like, I want to say like 4 official English translations, and then among those there's like revisions. And the newest one was like maybe in like 2016 or something like that, and it's called Battle Royale Remastered. And I guess it's like the best translation, but that's not what we heard because there's no audiobook for it. Actually,
Oh.
what's interesting is there is an audiobook that's been made off of the remaster, but it's like in another language. It was like something in like Europe, but like that one would. So, anyways, it would have been interesting to like see this in maybe like a better translation. But right when I saw that there was no audio, I was like, okay, we're not going to care about that. So I just went with the older one.
Yeah.
But yeah, those screams were immersion breaking for sure. Like,
I was like, anyways, last point. Sorry, I just
it's
remembered.
okay.
It is crazy to me that this was over the period of 2 days because in my brain it was like a week. In my brain, like the
That
summer was
is true.
so
That is
long, and it
true.
was literally 2 days, and I was
And
like,
it
what the
being
fuck?
quicker makes a lot more sense. But
Yeah,
I agree. Like the time dilation in your head, it like feels like
yeah.
it might have been way longer. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Let me see. Um, I made a note, another scene that was like, it wasn't even like that like big of a thing, but this was like when it clicked in my head finally of just like how much of a badass and how frightening Kazuho is, was when he knows that kid is following him, tricks him into staying near the bathroom till his collar exploded. I was like,
Oh
holy
my
shit. Like
god.
300
Yeah.
IQ play right there. That was good, dude. And
I
it says he doesn't even turn around as he walks away, and he hears his head pop. Like, oh my gosh, dude. That was good. That was really good.
I
Um,
forgot to talk about, sorry, my two other favorite characters,
okay.
the flaming gay and the
Oh,
pretentious vulgar violinist. Those two characters were so fucking funny. The way they were thinking, like I loved being in their brain. I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyway,
yeah,
sorry.
that was pretty good. I agree. I like those a lot. Let me see. When Shinji died and his entire like plan blew up, like this whole like, fertilizer bomb and everything that he was gonna do, that bummed me out so much. That made me hate Kazuha even more. Uh,
Mm.
that was crazy. That was like another. I think that was probably like the biggest like emotional hit to me, and I was like, oh no, I'm definitely like invested in a lot of these characters because dang, that one kind of hurt. Um, I'd say that my biggest. Oh, well, I guess I'll talk about this first. I thought another thing that was interesting by the end of it is like you have kind of like a nature versus nurture psychopaths happening in this book, because the girl, even the way she was talking, clearly seemed to be like, it's like she was made into a psychopath with her horrible upbringing. But Kazuho, way in the beginning, it was just described like he was just born that way. So I kind of thought that was interesting, but they were both psychos and both lethal and scary. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was like kind of cool. So I thought that the ending was like pretty darn good. Got like a little on like the unbelievable side because like once in a while you got to like back up and think like these are like middle schoolers, but like overall like pretty darn good. I like the way they tricked the guy, and I also like I think that if they went off sailing into the sunset and that was the end, that would kind of maybe it would have been kind of like unrealistic based on like how brutal everything was. So yeah, them remaining on
Yeah.
the run was pretty cool too. Um, my main complaint is I think the whole time I was looking for and kind of hoping that there was going to be some kind of explanation for why Kazuho was so superhumanly good. Do you know what I mean? Because he was frightening, and that is like absolutely true. But it would have been nice if you find out that kind of like Shogo, he's also maybe a second timer, maybe, and that's why he's like such a badass. You know what I mean? Like something
Yeah.
like that would have like really helped. Because given that like it was clearly just none of that, and he's just like a complete freak, like he's basically Chuck Norris. Like I'm like I don't know, like that
The
doesn't.
car.
Yeah, like everything. He was too good, and there's like basically like in my mind, just because you're a psychopath doesn't mean you know how to shoot a gun. It doesn't mean you know how to. So like, where did all of it come from? Do you know what I mean? And we just never really like heard. And so I thought that was like a little on the lame side because by the end of it, he was seriously he was feeling like Terminator. Do you know what I mean? Like just like this unkillable, frightening presence, and that's why it was so good, honestly. And it was cool how they had to like all three of them combined forces, and he ended up basically killing Shogo in the end, which is like good and makes sense in terms of like the lethality of it all. So like, but yeah, I kept thinking like, man, I really wish. Even after he was dead, I wasn't giving up hope. I thought that maybe they were gonna end up talking to that like leader asshole guy, and then he'd finally state why he thought Kazuo was gonna win. But I don't know. So that was like a little lame, but mostly nitpick. I thought that this book was like absolutely fantastic. And that feeling of, I think I was saying how it just like kept getting better, never stopped. And I don't know, like I can't think of that many books that do that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of books for me will like ramp up and then maybe plateau, and I'm like happy about that. Like even if they just plateau and keep going and they don't go down, I'm so frightened of them like going down. But this one, like, it just turned like page by page. It was like, man, this is just getting better. This is like such a good freaking story. It was, yeah, pretty satisfying.
Did you guys also think that Noriko was pretty much an useless character? Like,
Absolutely.
like in Naruto, like Sakura was always the useless one next to Naruto and Sasuke. And to me, it felt very much like that trio. Like Naruto, yeah, she killed one person, but pretty much the entire book, she was either injured, tired, or asleep.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 I did like how in the end she had the kill shot because she was so useless the entire time. So I think
Sure. It like validated it
it,
somewhat, but
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
true. She was like pretty useless.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it gave Shuya, by the way, it gave
Yeah.
Shuya his damsel in
Oh,
distress to
do.
kind of step up for. So at
Yeah.
least she served that function, but like it would have been nicer if she served like more of a function than that at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, all all this stuff. It's like you really have to nitpick because
Mm-hmm.
it was just so good. It was very enjoyable. Like I really liked it a lot. This is a cool freaking
Yeah.
book. I wasn't sure what to expect when I picked it. Like I've had this in my want to reads. I think this has been in my want to read since before I knew you guys. It's just been sitting there. Like I knew one day I wanted to read this
Really?
book, but like I didn't know what to expect, But like, man,
It's good.
freaking solid.
That was a good book.
Yeah,
For me, it was a 5 out of 5. I really
that's what
liked
I'm
it.
gonna give it.
It was like such a solid book. I would totally recommend it. I loved it.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm gonna
But
forget
this
it
is
anytime
not
soon.
one that I would want to watch the movie of because I feel like it would ruin it for me.
I
Yeah.
like the little bits that, because like I thankfully the movie for me was so long ago that like all I kind of remember was like the motif. I remember them sort of being like on an island and there was just like a bunch of kids in school uniforms, but I didn't remember any of the plot. So luckily it didn't ruin anything. But I do have like remembrances of it being like a little on the cheesy side, so maybe it's a good one not to watch. Maybe
Yeah.
if it got
Unless they
remade.
remake it.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one should be
Yeah.
a remake, and I think that this one, I mean, I
I want a K drama of this one, like with Korean
Oh,
characters.
yeah, like a like
like
an
Squid
like
Game.
a I
Yeah.
what's the word when it's like just like a limited, like where it's just like an 8 episode
Yeah. A
season
little.
Limited
of this whole thing.
release.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that would be super good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be super freaking good.
Who do we pitch this to?
Right.
Netflix.
Sweet. How about you, Manel? What are you giving it?
I give 5 too. It deserves
Damn.
5. I
Yeah.
know we've been on a
You got
streak,
it,
you
bro.
guys.
Oh
I
my god. Oh my
Wow. Hold on. I'm already forgetting. What was the one that we just Anyways, I'm gonna tag this and put it in our 5 out of 5 list. What was the one that we just tagged saying that? I don't
Almond.
know. Was Almond the one that we gave 5 out of 5?
Oh,
I
the
gave
wedding
it
people.
Oh, it was Wedding People. Yeah. It was Wedding People. It was Wedding People. Tight.
Wedding people was
Uh,
really good too.
Finer Things, Perfect Fives. Yeah. This was just it was just solid, and it was just rock solid, and I will say that I think I was expecting that everything was gonna hit the shit was gonna hit the fan. There was no real escape plan, and everybody was gonna die except for one person. And I still probably. Oh, did we lose Manel?
Oh no, I'm here. I'm just
Oh,
reading the
okay.
book.
Oh, got it. Uh, and even if all of that happened, if it just actually went battle royale, everybody died, and there was this heartbreaking or frightening ending at the end, I think it still would have been a 5. And if anything, I was a little afraid of it being anything other than that, because I thought it would have turned dumb if they turned it into this weird escape story that didn't make any sense. But it went that way, and it was still really good and satisfying. Better
Yeah.
than that. So yeah,
The,
awesome.
the closest they came to explaining the game was that, oh, you put everyone together and then they all turn into animals and kill each other, so you really can't trust anyone. So that was their way of stopping an uprising in the country. It was a pretty weak
I
explanation,
agree.
but
Yeah.
I'll take it. But still, it
Yeah.
wasn't really that good enough.
Right. Because yeah, get you don't I think because the book was so not about that,
Yeah,
you don't really care. It's almost like if you think of this as a fantasy novel, the
hmm,
lore was just the island, and the kids are all having to
yeah,
kill each other. It doesn't really matter the history of it. If Hunger Games, because Hunger Game is obviously way more political and the scope is bigger, and you're you know all
yeah,
those things. If Hunger Games had such a weak reasoning behind it, that would suck and it would ruin it. But for
yeah.
this, it was just kind of I wish it was stronger too, but it didn't.
Unless that was what the author was going for, even Kashimoto, he had no idea why these things were sorry, why these things were being done, but he
Yeah,
was just doing it for the sake of doing it. So that's what
sure.
everyone was doing to, just blindly following
And
everything.
they did slightly say that there was this phrase they used a couple of times, only in a perfectly fascist society or something could something like
Oh
this
yeah,
exist, right? So maybe
yeah.
it is just this idea of it just takes pure blind trust of government for
Yeah,
something like this to even happen,
Mhm.
and
yeah,
maybe it's just proof of concept of that, which is
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, sweet, love it.
Good.
Good reading. What's the
Do you
next
know your
book?
book? Is it? I think Manel said it was.
It was supposed to be. Is it yours, Manor? I think it's me.
Oh, is
No,
it?
it's you.
Oh, okay.
It's me. I wanted to do Intermezzo by Sally Rooney.
Oh yeah, I'm
Remember?
gonna
But then
stop
I
this.
also